Hey there, Beerfield Fantasy family. It's at Nick Sparts here, back with at Beerfield FF News Shots. You can follow us on YouTube at Beerfield Fantasy Football. We drop content there 7 days a week, whether it's DFS content on Fridays, in and outs on Saturdays, talking about your inactives and last start sit questions Sunday mornings before kickoff, and all throughout the rest of the week. And as always, the podcast drops for you guys Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Well, I'll drop another episode for you tomorrow night covering every single game happening Sunday and Monday, as well as recapping what the hell just happened in the Thursday night game. Let's go ahead and get into some news, though. Packers running back Aaron Jones could be a game-time decision against the Buccaneers here. This is a bit of a surprise. I think we thought he was going to miss possibly the entire rest of the season. If he goes, it is a massive knock to Jamal Williams because he's going to probably see, instead of an 80-90% snap share, will probably drop down into the 50-60% range, which really caps his upside. He'll drop down for me from a low-end RB1 probably to a low-end RB2 if that happens. And I expect the other two guys, Dan and Chris, who are less high on him, to probably drop him down into a flex ranking if that occurs. Cameron Brate was added to the Bucs injury report today, Thursday. He got a limited session with a hip issue. Late developing injuries are never good. Look out for his practice designation tomorrow. If he's limited or does not participate in practice tomorrow, expect him not to go on Sunday. And O.J. Howard actually becomes kind of interesting with Winston back. If Brate can't play, I think Howard would probably jump into probably around my tight end 15 if that were to occur. Amari Cooper, still sidelined on Thursday. He's dealing with both concussion and an ankle sprain. I would expect him to miss Week 13 and possibly Week 14. So drop your expectations for Cooper here. Hopefully you don't need him for a playoff run because you're not going to get much out of him the next couple weeks. Browns coach Hugh Jackson says Josh Gordon is going to start his debut here against the Chargers and he's going to get a full snap share. So if you're going to play him, now's the time, because after this you're probably in the playoffs. So if you're not in a situation where you can risk it or you don't have any better options, I've got him as a mid to low end flex play this week in my wide receiver 35 overall, I believe. So I think he definitely is startable, but it's a lot to risk because you're just not sure what type of target volume he's going to get. He's never played a game with Kaiser before. Coleman has been the one getting all the targets. So if you want to risk it, now's the time to do it. Lastly, Falcons coach Dan Quinn says Devonta Freeman is ready to go for Week 13. He will not be limited. So Freeman is up. Coleman is down in my rankings. Going to have Freeman as a mid RB2 this week against a tough Vikings defense. And Coleman only getting his 8 to 10 touches will be in low-end RB3 at best. All right, so for today's Anything Goes Thursday segment, continuing with the Dynasty theme here, I want to start previewing the 2018 rookie running back class, which when it comes to how deep it is, may even be better than the 2017 class. It's only got one true bona fide stud from what we've seen so far and a couple guys that are maybe, whereas the last class coming in, we knew we had 3 or 4 guys at that top tier. But I do want to run through my 7 favorite guys and the 7 guys who I think could be going in the first round of your rookie drafts if you're playing standard format with 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, no premium on either of those positions. Up first, the man himself, Saquon Barkley, out of Penn State. He's 5'11", 230 pounds. He's an absolute freak, should be the 101 in every single draft this year. He's likely going to be a top 5 NFL pick. 16 rushing touchdowns, 5.7 yards per carry against stacked boxes. Teams are selling out to stop this guy. And he's added almost 600 receiving yards through the air on 47 catches. When I get to a lot of the other guys, they won't have had more than 15 catches. This guy has 47, and he's a true 3-down back. He's elite in pretty much every aspect of his game. Even his pass blocking is pretty good from the initial tape that I've watched, which you just don't generally see that coming out of college. I don't think it's hyperbole to say that he is the best prospect we're going to have evaluated at this point, better than anyone out of the 16 or 17 class. So Saquon Barkley, hats off to you. If you get the 101 this year, congratulations, you've got yourself a stud. On to the number 2 guy. I've got Darius Geis, 5'11", 211 pounds, so he's slightly smaller. He is in that second tier of backs. He is the one I think is going to be taken next in the draft. I think he's going to be a mid to late first rounder. His stats aren't as gaudy this year. He actually had much better stats last year when he was splitting time with Fournette, and he averaged almost 8 yards a carry. This year he's down to around 6.2, 1,250 total yards, 11 touchdowns, but he is playing against the SEC, which is some really tough competition. He is standing up to it, putting up good work, and he's had back-to-back good seasons. His stock should be good, and I expect him to be very good at the combine. He probably will be around pick 20 to 25 in the NFL draft, and I expect him to be your 102 or 103 pick in rookie drafts come next year. On to the guy that I think is going to shoot up boards the most and has kind of already shot up boards the most. It's Bryce Love out of Stanford. 5'10", 196, so he's a little undersized. He's built a lot like Kamara or McCaffrey is, but he's got that similar speed balance set where he can run through arm tackles, find space, find creases, and just make guys miss. He's got 8.6 yards a carry, 215 carries. He's the, as far as I can tell, the NCAA's leading rusher, 16 touchdowns. Doesn't catch the ball much, but I'm guessing that's more of a scheme thing. Just guys built like him tend to be good pass catchers. So I'm going to be interested in deep diving that more and finding out if maybe that is a weakness, but he only has 6 catches on the year. It could definitely be a Stanford thing where they're just not using him in that role. I think he's going to end up as a top 6 rookie pick. I think people are going to look at guys like Hunt and Kamara and how they've dominated with this similar build, and they're going to be jumping all over this skill set because he looks fantastic on tape. Up next, we got Nick Chubb out of Georgia. A lot of people thought he was going to declare last year, but he came back for a senior year after a disappointing junior year. He was coming off a really bad knee injury. I know it was for sure an ACL tear, and he may have torn other ligaments as well. I need to look up on that and deep dive him some more. But he's 225 pounds, 5'10", has looked much closer to his old self here in his senior year. He is the guy where if he impresses enough at the combine, he's the one who could really jump into that 102 spot. I don't think Bryce Love with his size is ever going to get quite that high. I think he's probably going to settle in around the 105, 106. Nick Chubb and Geis are the two that are probably fighting for the number 2 running back taken in this draft class. He was 6.2 yards per carry, splitting workloads, 198 yards, 13 touchdowns. He split with another guy I'm going to talk about momentarily in that Georgia backfield, and both of them had 13 touchdowns. So both produced, both look great. They're behind a great offensive line, but I think they're both very talented, and both could be first-round rookie picks. This is going to be the more crush the combine upside type player, and that's Kalen Ballage. He's out of Arizona State. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He's been a split backfield in Arizona State his entire career, so he's gotten very little work. He's only got about 650 rushing yards this year, not really used in the passing game. But on tape, he pops. He's an athletic freak. And the people who love Kalen Ballage really, really love Kalen. He's currently looking like he could float anywhere between being a top 5 pick to a mid-second rounder, depending on what he does at the combine. But I expect he's going to absolutely crush it. And he's a guy who the athletic profile is going to cause people to lose their minds. And he's going to end up as a top 7 or 8 pick based on that profile for him. All right, on to a guy who was not well liked after his sophomore season, and that's Ronald Jones II out of USC. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He didn't run into contact well, just didn't show a lot of strength. Wasn't a player that people were too high on coming into this year. Comes in and absolutely kills it. If it wasn't for Bryce in the same conference, this would be the best running back in the Pac-12. 1,346 yards, 212 attempts, 16 touchdowns, running through contact, showing that he's got the ability to be a 3-down back. Unfortunately, there's another back that's not used much in the passing game. I'm not sure if this is a system issue or what's going on, but teams are just not throwing to the running backs for these high-profile guys. Something I definitely want to investigate more and find out if that's a system thing, if it's an actual weakness of their game. But a lot of people are starting to hype him up now. He's looking like he's probably going to come in that 109, 110 spot in our initial mock drafts. By the way, expect our first mock drafts to probably drop here in February-ish once we get a chance to watch all the players' tape. I'm really excited to see what his combine looks like, and he should be a late-day due pick, which will start pushing him up draft boards. And lastly, Sonny Michael, Georgia, 5'11", 215 pounds. He's the smaller back out of Georgia. Chubb's 225. He gets less work, but he's more efficient, 7.3 yards per carry. He's had back-to-back seasons where he's been the more efficient back with a smaller workload. 13 touchdowns also scored as well. I'm just kind of interested to see what NFL draft hype gets to be on this guy. What the scouts start saying, if there starts to be any serious hype build for this guy as we start going through the NFL draft process. Because I think that's really what's going to drive his value, is if you start seeing teams saying, yes, he can be a 3-down back, he can be the guy. That starts happening. This is a guy who will also sneak into the top first round. And I'm thinking, as of right now, there's going to be 6 or 7 running backs taken in the first 12 players. and I think it's going to be some combination of this list. There's a few other guys. Adams out of Notre Dame, maybe a guy who sneaks up into the top 12. There's a few other players I want to do some further deep diving on. But these are the 7 I wanted to highlight first. This is going to be a great running back class. Get hyped. I hope you stocked up on multiple 18 picks for these guys, because I think a few of these are going to be difference makers for your dynasty teams long term. Thank you so much for checking in. As always, like and subscribe to the channel, Beer Fueled Fantasy Football. We're going to have plenty of rookie draft content for you going here once the regular season ends. We only have 4 weeks left before we get through week 16, when we start transitioning into full-on dynasty mode. So I hope you guys watch us and keep track of us then, and we'll catch you guys next time.